Hi there. So this is some of the feedback that I have received throughout my EAC Hearthstone speedrun last month. I have received a lot of positive feedback, whether it is from the Twitch chat or from the donation comments below, or from the people watching live at the venue, etc, etc. So yeah, I have managed to demonstrate that a Hearthstone speedrun could be really interesting to watch, whether it is the gameplay or the commentary. And among the people who like my run includes Faske and Etalons, who are two members of the ESA selection committee, and yeah, just like you guys, both of them have to watch a lot of commentary and a lot of speedruns in order to determine which speedruns have to be showcased on ESA. So yeah, the fact that they like my run a lot demonstrates the fact that my commentary managed to stand out compared to a lot of the other speedruns. And if you want to see my ESA performance, you could sorry, what do you want to do here? Okay, you could look at the video of the ESA run below on the video description, and you could see that I managed to make the commentary to be really entertaining overall. The crowd are really enthusiastic. They like my commentary, they like my gameplay, they like my jokes, etc, etc. And what do I want to do here? Things are actually pretty dangerous here. Let's see what I want. Ooh, that's a nice one. So yeah, and also because of my run, there are a few people who started intensively replay the old adventures again, despite the fact that this run, the ESA run, actually get a very little exposure among the Hearthstone audience, among the Hearthstone viewer base. So this includes Blizzard Dev, who ends up revisiting the old adventures, and he ended up making a lot of new strategies for some of the other old adventures. Shout out to that guy, by the way, he's a great guy. And yeah, and again, it's a proof that my speedrun could be wait, do it here. I have to use this. Yeah, it's a proof that my speedruns could be really interesting to watch, whether it is for the casual Hearthstone viewers, or for the experienced Hearthstone players, or even for non-Hearthstone viewer, which is what most of the viewer base in ESA is. And what do I want to do here? I think I have to play this here. And yeah, in this fight is actually sometimes kind of hard to play, because the way this fight works is that you get this like a random choices of cards that you could access through this discover spells. So discover is a mechanic that is newly introduced in when this expansion first came out. It will give you a 3 random choice of all of the cards that are available in this game. So there are hundreds of cards that came out from these discover choices, and yeah, obviously that makes it that gives a lot of decision making that is happening throughout this game. And that is why Hearthstone speedrun that's one of the components that make Hearthstone speedrun is fun to watch. You got to actually consistently do very fast decision making, which you normally never see in a regular Hearthstone gameplay. Also, one thing to take note if you are watching my ESA marathon video, the amount of donation that we received throughout the run is actually not much. But then again, we have there's a very limited exposure of this event among Hearthstone viewers, and and it also takes place during a graveyard shift. So yeah, there's not a lot of people watching. and Hearthstone speedrunning scene is not popular yet, which is why I think this speedrun really fits GDQ, because unlike GDQ, unlike ESA, Hearthstone have GDQ have a lot of mainstream exposure, which could easily bring a lot of exposure to the Hearthstone viewer base, and we could potentially have a lot more viewers, a lot more audience, a lot more donations, and of course a lot more fun potentially. So yeah, I guess that's all I have in terms of my comments about Hearthstone speedrunning in general. And again, I believe it's really suitable to be showcased on a huge marathon such as GDQ, as what have been shown by the positive feedbacks I have received throughout my ESA. Despite the very limited exposure this event gets among the Hearthstone viewer base. And so first of all, what's heroic mode? Heroic mode is a mode that is made to be really hard for most players. Like, a lot of players have troubles in beating some of these bosses, even if they attempt this boss a lot of times, like more than 20 times or so. But thanks to really creative strategies and thanks to the newer cards that are released after this adventure, we now have a lot of consistent strategies for the hard bosses that in the same time are also really fun to watch. So one main example of where you see a lot of new cards are in this boss, Varix. So Varix here, the strategy that I am employing is actually pretty simple. It's using an archetype called mid-range priest. So first of all, let me just explain what happens in this boss. So in this boss, the opponent have this minion called Rod of the Sun just now. When you kill it, the Rod of the Sun goes to your side, and if the AI manages to kill it again, then it will get returned back to his side, and etc, etc. So it kind of acts like a tug of war. But if you manage to silence the Rod, just like what I did, then this card tax that makes the Rod going over back and forth between both players will actually be ineffective, and now I don't have to get worried about the chance that the Rod might actually get returned back to his side. And yeah, okay. And the strategies again that I am employing is called a mid-range deck. It's a basic way to play Hearthstone. You try to control the board early on, and then on the late game you try to put your huge minions so that you could kill the boss quickly. But you could see in this throughout this game that I use a lot of cards that are released after this adventure, and these new cards help make the strategy to be viable. 1 year ago, when I did this run, I used a different archetype that is actually slower and is also less consistent, because the basic mid-range strategy doesn't really work well that time, and that shows one of the things that make Hearthstone speedrunning really interesting is the fact that strategies keep evolving as more and more cards are released. You will see later in some of the later fights where I managed to carry out some really interesting strategies that is only possible because of the newer cards. And yeah, again, strategies keep evolving, and every time an expansion is released, you got new cards to explore, new strategies to make, and new time save you could make because of the better cards. And yeah, again, it's a component that you don't see in other speedruns. And yeah, that is actually a fast time for Varix. The Varix in my PB is actually unusually really quick, so 1 minute time loss is still fast. And this boss, Temple Escape, is pretty straightforward. So as the name implies, your goal here is to escape the temple. instead of beating a boss. So you have 10 turns here to escape, you have to survive for 10 turns, and at the start of every turn, the opponent will use his hero power here to to summon a huge minion. So the sequence of enemy that is spawned here is fixed. So this fight is really straightforward because you know what is coming in, you know what to do, and yeah, it's kind of an auto-scroller in a way. And also, just a turn earlier, I managed to use a trick with this minion called Saboteur. So this trick is done by using Saboteur, which will increase the enemy's hero power by 5 mana. And if I use it on turn 3, the opponent won't have enough mana crystal to play his hero power, so I managed to skip the turn just now by playing Saboteur. Other than that though, this fight is, again, it's pretty straightforward. All you do is just keep stalling your enemy. I'm using Mage, which have a lot of spells that could freeze the opponents. So all I have to do is just keep freezing the opponents over and over, and I will win in 2 turns because the choices that I get just now allows me to skip 1 turn. So just now I have a choice between skipping a turn and having the opponent summon a war golem straight away, or wait 1 more turn and makes it slower. And this is a speedrun, so obviously you want to choose the faster choice. Okay, that's a straightforward fight. It's pretty simple. The next fight though is the fight that is considered really hard for most players. Like if you look at the online guides for this adventure, most players out there are asking on how to beat this boss. And I managed to make a consistent strategy for this boss, and it's also fun to watch. So Scarvash have a lot of gimmick in this fight. What happened in this fight is that on odd number turns, which is turn 1, 3, 5, etc., your minions will cost 11, so you can only play your spells, and vice versa for the even number turns, which is turn 2, 4, 6, etc., where you could only play your minions because your spell will cost 11. But the gimmick is not the main threat. The main threat comes from these 2 minions here that he already have at the start of the game. Because these minions are pretty big for the start of the game, and if you have a bad early game, you could just easily lose this. So yeah, this boss does have a bit of chance to lose if you have a bad early game. But yeah, I'm using a paladin, which happen to have a lot of tools that are really suitable against this boss. Let's see. So the strategy that I am employing in this fight consists. This is actually pretty bad. Okay, I think now with a bad early game, I actually have a pretty high chance of losing, to be honest. Oh well. But yeah, the way I am building this deck is that I put in minions that have an even cost and spells that have an odd cost. So I managed. That allows me to make the most value out of my cards. And Doomsayer here is a card that at the start of the turn, if my Doomsayer manages to survive, it will destroy all the minions on the board. So that will stabilize my board, and now I have the board control. Although my health is kinda low, so I need to heal. Fortunately, I have this True Silver Champion, which allows me to heal a bit. Although I will still need more healing eventually. But anyway, ooh, nice Molten Giant, yes. So Molten Giant here is a really good trick for this boss. So what Molten Giant does is that it's a 20 mana card with 8 attack and 8 health. It's a big minion, but the way it works is that it will cost 1 less for each damage you have taken. So if you wait, what do I have to do here? Okay, I don't want to attack the minion with my weapon because my health is kinda low, so I just rather heal. And yeah, the way it works is that it costs 20, but because of his hero power making minions cost 11 during odd number turns, that will make the... Oh, what do I want to do here? Okay, if I survive this turn, I should be fine next turn because I have the Death Knight card. But yeah, it will cost 20, but the hero power makes my minion cost 11, and because of that, the Molten Giant end up costing 9 mana cheaper, and that makes it really easy to summon the Molten Giant on turn 3 if you have it on your opening hand. So yeah, having an 8/8 minion on turn 3 is really big, and when that happens, you could easily control the board as long as it doesn't get removed. Although just now what happened is kind of unfortunate. The opponent have that card called Keeper of Uldaman, which reduces the stats of the what is it? What do I do here? Of the Molten Giant into 3 attack and 3 health, so it could quickly die. And right now I do have a lot of health, although he still has quite a lot of minions here. Oh, and this is also an example of a new card that helps a lot in the fight. So this card called Shrink Ray, it's a card that was very recently released. It will set the attack and health of all minions to 1. So when you are in a dangerous position here, all you have to do is just play Shrink Ray, and now you are fine. Well, actually saying that, my health is actually still a bit low, so let me just heal. But yeah, without the Shrink Ray, I will probably just die just now actually. And honestly, dying right now is not a surprise because my early game is pretty bad, to be honest. But yeah, Shrink Ray managed to help me stabilize the board, and again, that's an example on how strategies keep evolving as more and more cards are released on the future. Maybe in the future, like, see, my PB here is 5940. I still actually have like about 5 minutes worth of death on my PB after quite a lot of grinding. And what do I want to do here? Nice. And yeah, maybe in the future it's easy to reach a time below 55 minutes. I am not surprised if that's the case, because as more and more cards are released, strategies will keep evolving, and we will get to see cooler strategies that, who knows, maybe after I did my run at AGDQ 2019, the year after that someone will showcase some even better, more interesting strategies than what we have here. What do we do here? Also, this question mark here on his hero portrait is called a secret. Secret is a spell that, well, gives him this question mark, and a secret will trigger if I do a specific event. And for this specific event, for this specific boss, his secret is called Dart Trap. Dart Trap will trigger whenever I use my hero power. It will deal 5 damage to a random enemy, and that's why after he played the secret, I didn't play my hero power anymore, because I don't see how the hero power would help. And okay, there you go. This fight is actually kind of slow, but I actually managed to came out of a really dangerous situation in the early game and managed to win. Yeah, the one in my PB is actually insanely quick, so a time loss of more than 3 minutes is actually completely normal. Well, actually, this is still really slow overall, but it happens. Anyway, yeah. Next fight is called the Minecart Rush. So in this fight, what do I do here? Okay, so in this fight, it's similar to Temple Escape, where your goal is to escape this mine shaft. You have 10 turns to escape, and every turn, at the start of every turn, the opponent will summon new minions from his hero power. And unlike the other bosses here, in this fight your deck is pre-made, and by pre-made that means like Blizzard gave this deck and you don't have the opportunity to build your decks. So yeah, this fight is pretty straightforward, and there's still a bit of chance to die actually, and to be frank, this is kind of dangerous right now. But yeah, the way this fight works is really different compared to other fights. Wait, what do I want to do here? Okay. So you have 2 mana crystals for the entirety of the fight, and all of your cards cost 1 mana. So every turn you could use two cards. And the cards have different kinds of effects, such as healing yourself, summoning a minion, dealing damage to multiple amount of minions, etc, etc. And one of the cards actually allows you to skip a turn, so make this fight faster. And this is actually dangerous. I have 2 turns left. Okay, I win. Yep, just now I used that card to skip a turn, and next turn I will win instantly. Which is a relief to know, because this situation is dangerous. Actually, my health is low. He has a lot of minions that I can't clear, and okay. On to the next fight. So Archidas is a quick one usually. So what happens in this boss is that the enemy will, at the start of his every turn, he will summon a minion for in both sides of the board. So he will summon a minion for yourself and for the opponent. And because you keep getting an extra minion every turn from his hero power, I am using an archetype called Token Druid. Token Druid is an archetype that synergizes well with the fact that you have a lot of minions on the board. I have a lot of cheap spells that allows me to buff my minions instantly. Although these statues are still really dangerous. So, okay. A way for me to quickly kill his... So the statues have 0 attack. And a way for me to quickly kill his statue is by using a stat swapping effect. And when you swap when you swap the stats like this, if the minion have 0 attack, then it becomes a 0 health because it got swapped. And what do I want to do here? This is this. And yeah, it will die instantly because it has 0 health. So you will see some of the cards that allow me to swap the stats, such as Chris Alchemist and Void Reaper just now. And what do I want to do here? And his secret here is called Sacred Trial. It will trigger whenever I playing a minion on a board that already have at least 3 minions. So my small minion just now died instantly because of that secret. And I could abuse the fact... what do I do here? 1 minute. And I could abuse the fact by playing a card called Nerubian Egg. Nerubian Egg is a minion with 2 mana minion with 0 attack, and when you first of all, okay, nice. And when you play it, and you could use, and when Nerubian Egg dies, it will summon a 4 attack and 4 health minion, which is really strong for 2 mana. And you could counter his Sacred Trial by purposely destroying your Nerubian Egg using his Sacred Trial secret, and that will give you a lot of value. Although this is the Nerubian Egg that I was talking about, although you don't get to see that rattle here in action. Oh, and that rattle is a mechanic that means that this card will do something when it dies. And should I win this one? I have Savage Roar that will allow me to buff my minions, buff the attack of my minions, and that neutralize helps me in killing the town, so I have no problem in killing him now. Yep, that's it. Quick. Well, actually this fight is not that quick, but it happens sometimes. Usually I get a lethal in around like turn 7, turn 6 or 7, and this actually reached turn 9, so it's not that quick, but... Yeah, of course, this is a card game, it have RNG, so you don't always get a similar amount of time every turn, every game. And Slayer Spear here is a fight that is also considered to be really hard for most players. And the strategy that I'm using here is called a Mill Rook. Now, first of all, how this boss works is that on the start of the enemy's turn, he will... what do we do here? He will summon a minion called Hungry Naga. So Hungry Naga starts at 1 attack and 1 health, and at the next turn it will get buffed by 1 attack, another attack and another health, so it becomes a 2 and 2 minion, and then it becomes a 3 and 3 minion, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't take a long time for him to build a really huge board, and that's why this fight is considered to be really hard for most players. Because this boss have infinite resources. Eventually he could summon huge minions over and over non-stop. And so my strategy here is called Mill Rogue. Mill Rogue, the strategy works by, it depends on this key card called Coltech Oracle. So the main goal of this strategy here is to summon as much minion as possible. To draw as much card as possible using this card called Mill Rogue. What do I want to do here? Yeah, so Coltech Oracle, it's a minion whose battle cry will draw 2 cards for both of the players. And eventually, when I manage to draw a lot of cards for himself, he will start to run out of cards in his deck. And when that happens, he will start taking fatigue damage whenever he draw a card if his deck is empty. And this is actually kind of dangerous. Hold on a minute, let me just think a bit on what to do here. Vanish, good. I'm not sure if I want to use Vanish right now too.
If you're sure.
Okay. Yeah, so when the opponent start to run out of cards in his deck, he... okay, I have to Vanish next turn. I have to use Vanish. He will start taking damage and I will exploit that damage to kill him quickly. Well, not really quick actually, because this strategy, to be fair, it's not a quick strategy, but I'm using this strategy because Slither Spear is a really strong boss and this is the only reliable way of consistently killing him, as far as I know. Hold on a minute. And it might not seem like it, but this strategy is actually really hard to play fast. There are a lot of choices you could make every turn, like different kinds of cards you could try to play, and you have to plan a few turns ahead to think on how to set up so that you could kill your opponent. And to be honest, I actually have a pretty high chance of dying at this point. Ooh, nice top deck. Hold on a minute. You also need to think a few turns ahead to think on how to kill your opponent. And hold on a minute, what do I want to do next turn? Okay, Ice Hole. This minion Ice Hole, he can attack straight away, but he can't attack my face, so I am safe. And now I am free to play my Oracles. Should play Brun actually, never mind I guess. Let me just throw away my backstab. Okay, I should be good, I think. Although things are looking dangerous, obviously. Yeah, my commentary might actually slow down a bit right now because things are really intense right now. And wait, will I actually die? Oh fuck! Oops, excuse my language. 1824. Okay, he started to run out of cards, although my health is low. If he have that minion that allows to deal damage to multiple minions at once, I will actually die. Otherwise, I will actually win this. Okay, nice, I win. Oh, that's really dangerous. Sorry for my lack of commentary on the last 30 seconds or so. Things are really intense, but now I could easily win this too. Yep, and I win. So yeah, the way this deck works is that you try to defend yourself while playing your Oracle over and over, so you could destroy his deck, and when he ran out of cards in his deck, then yeah, you could start dealing damage over and over by drawing cards for him. That was intense, and again, I guess my commentary does slow down there because again, let me repeat this a bunch of times, it was intense. And I also have to think a few steps ahead on how to set up my win condition. Okay, Giant Fin is a pretty interesting fight, although it's not that hard for most players. So what happens in this boss is that Giant Fin will, every turn he will keep summoning small Murlocs, small fish creatures, and that's why in this deck you will see a lot of cards that could deal damage to multiple minions at once, such as Unstable Gold here. So yeah, he will summon a bunch of Murlocs every turn, and I will put minions that could clear out all of these Murlocs at once. And I am using Paladin for this fight because Paladin is really good in exploiting what is it? Exploiting two of the features of this. Two features of this boss. So the first feature is the fact that you often kill a lot of minions at once. And some cards synergize well with the fact that you kill a lot of minions, such as Solemn Vigil here is a card that will get cheaper whenever a minion died on the turn. So I often able to use Solemn Vigil at only 0 mana, such as what I will do on the turn 4 here. It draws me 2 cards, so 0 mana draw 2 cards is a really strong effect overall. And there are also other neutral cards such as Flesh Eating Ghoul or Volcanic Drake that synergize with the fact that I actually forgot to use it. Whoops. Yeah. And the second feature is the fact that he have a lot of cards in his hand. And we also have a lot of cards that synergize well with that effect. An example here is Divine Favor. Divine Favor will draw cards until I have as many cards in my as many cards in my hand as compared to the opponent. And you see here the way Giant Fiend works is that he will draw 2 extra cards every turn. And yeah, I usually could get my Divine Favor to draw a lot of cards for me. And another minion that will abuse this drawing card feature is this Daring Reporter. But what I want to do here actually, should I put my Doomsayer Explosive Trap? Okay, this should be good. Daring Reporter here is a minion that got buffed by 1 attack and 1 health whenever the opponent draws a card. And because the opponent draws 3 cards every turn, Daring Reporter could get really big really quickly, although the animation is kinda slow, so might be a bit annoying to watch. But yeah, this is one of the ways I could kill the opponent quickly, by utilizing minions that could synergize well with how this boss works. What do I want to do here? Okay, now this is where actually Divine Favor doesn't draw me that much card right now. Oh, nice, another Daring Reporter. The animation will be a bit annoying because it will be kinda slow, but I will get 2 huge minions next turn, and I could probably kill him in 3 turns, maybe in 2 turns if I get pretty lucky. Let's see. I think I actually have quite a lot of good chance to kill him in 2 turns here. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention one thing. You know, when I keep mashing in this top left corner, that is done because if I click the opponent's card, I don't need to wait like a second or so for the opponent's animation to start. It's something I have mentioned during the start of my run at ESA. So if you guys watch that marathon commentary, I'm sure you guys would have noticed that already. It's actually a feature that a lot of Hearthstone players have no idea about, and yeah. So a lot of people might be confused why I am keep mashing the top left corner. They might be thinking I am nervous or I am just being obnoxious and etc. And I win here. Easy. Okay, Nasjar here is a fight that usually have a pretty low win rate because her early game is really strong. And yeah, actually I think out of all the bosses in this adventure, it was the one with the lowest win rate. But thankfully the deaths are quick, so you usually don't lose a lot of time with having like 1 or 2 deaths. The win rate is probably somewhere around 60% usually, because again, if her early game are really strong and I can't deal with it, then I'll just restart the fight. And okay, so the way this boss works is that at the end of her every turn, she will transform all minions on the board. Excuse the pause, I was actually burping a bit just now. But anyway, yeah, so at the start of her turn, she will transform your minions into a random minion of the same cost, while she will transform her minions into a random minion of a cost that is 1 higher. So if you can't deal with this board here, her minions will get buffed over and over. That seems how it's going to be, so I think this will be a pretty quick restart. You know what? Yeah, can't win this one unless if she gets really bad minion. So there's quite a lot of randomness in this fight. Although again, what makes this fight hard is not the random nature of this fight, but it's the fact that her early game is really strong, and although it's a quick death, so I don't lose a lot of time. So both me and the opponent here employs the similar strategy. We try to summon multiple minions at once, a lot of the times, because that will allow us to synergize with the opponent's hero power here. So there are two ways you could exploit the hero power. The first is to summon to use cards that summon multiple minions at once. So you have cards such as called Doppelgangster. It will summon 3 copies of 5 mana minion. Although the 5 mana minion is only of a 2 attack and 2 health, but because of hero power, those small minions will get transformed into a random 5 mana minion, which on average is much bigger than their original stats. So those Doppelgangster will get buffed a lot on average. And yeah, another way of exploiting this hero power is by summoning a huge minion whose cost could be reduced, such as Sea Giant here. It costs 10 mana. The cost will be what do I want to do here? Actually, could use this. Sea Giant will have its cost reduced for every amount of will have its cost reduced by 1 for every minion on the battlefield. So the more minions on the board, the cheaper it is, and that's why sometimes I could summon it for a very cheap cost. But because it is considered to be a 10 mana minion, her hero power will transform it into a random 10 mana minion, which is so it constantly stays as a big minion. And yeah, so this is the Doppelgangster that I was talking earlier. It's 5 mana. The battle cry is summon 2 copies of the minion, so you have 3 copies of 5 mana minion. And at the end of this turn, all of them will get transformed into a random 5 mana minion, which is much bigger than the 2-2 on average. What do I do here? Unfortunately, I could only summon one of my Sea Giant, but again, yeah. Now I have expensive minions on my board. This fight should go pretty smooth. Next turn I could summon another Sea Giant, so yeah. Also, I'm using Hunter because Hunter have these secrets, which are really good in stabilizing the board on starting from turn 2. Because other classes usually what do I do here? Other classes usually doesn't have tools to deal with a huge board straight away, but Hunter does. And in this fight, it's the first 3 or 4 turns are the most important parts of the game. Because if you didn't manage to stabilize the game on 4 turns, then you just lose. But if you do, then you will probably win, like this one. Now this game is very straightforward. I have a lot of huge minions on the board. She can't deal anything about it, and yeah, I just have to wait until I could deal enough damage to kill her. I should have enough damage now. Okay, there you go. I win. We are actually on a really good pace for a resetless run right now. The run have been, well, it's almost deathless. I have a quick death on Nashjar. Yeah, in my PB, I actually have like about 4 minutes worth of death on Nashjar, which is why I have a significant time save here. Anyway, Scalesaurus is also one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest fights of this run. Yeah, I'm using a similar strategy to Slither Spear, where I'm using a mill rope simply because this boss is really hard and there is no other reliable, quick way of killing him. In my ESA run, I actually died 3 times in Scalesaurus, and yeah, which is kind of annoying, but it also shows that I could make the commentary stays entertaining even though if I have to reset the boss multiple amount of times. Well, the chance that I have to do something like that is low, but the chance is there. and that is why my estimate that I submitted is much higher than my PB. But still though, this okay, so in 6 months ago, so okay, first of all let me just explain this boss first. The way this boss works is that at the start of his turn he will have this he will use his 0 mana hero power to get a random card that will have its cost reduced to 0, so he could play it straight away. So he could get like anything between 10 mana or a 1 mana minion. So there seems like a really huge variance on do I want to use vanish straight away? You know what, I'm taking 10 damage to the face.
Take a walk on the wild side.
So yeah, it like he could get like small minions or huge minions straight away on the board, and that's why this boss feels random. My win rate is usually around 70%, I think. But yeah, the way this boss works is just that sometimes you might end up dying multiple times in a row where you have no controls, and also the fact that you are using Meal Rogue, which is a hard archetype to play properly because there's a lot of decision you have to make. And on my ESA run, I actually made a few minor mistakes which might end up contribute to the fact that I am dying 3 times in a row. Like one of the fights, I might actually not losing if I didn't make the mistakes, and oh wow, that's a lot of stuff. Do I want to use my... I don't want to use my vanish right away, I guess. I will receive a lot of damage next turn. That is kind of troubling. Okay, I get the Oracle. Next turn I will use, I guess, Preparation and Vanish, and I could start drawing cards for him. Although what is worrying here is the fact that these Goblin Bombs that he just summoned, it will deal quite a lot of damage to my face because 4 of those will die. Okay, I think it should be good right now. Okay, but although fortunately I managed to stabilize the board. Also, one reason why Meal Rogue is really suitable for this boss is the fact that if his hand is full, then his hero power is ineffective because he won't get any cards from the hero power, well, because his hand is full. And also, oh wow, that is interesting. Aviana here will make all minions cost 1, so he's suddenly able to... oh, this is actually really dangerous. I don't have any more vanish. Okay, well, this is a really unusual situation. I think I will just be dead instantly here. Can I survive this? I might actually die really soon here. And if that happens, then I guess I can't really do anything about it. Because he just get a minion that will allow him to summon a lot of stuff at once all of a sudden. It's out of my control, unfortunately. Oh, I kind of made a mistake, I think. Oh well, whatever, doesn't matter. You know what? Yeah, there's no way I will win this. That Aviana just ruins everything. I was about to win there for sure if he can't suddenly play a bunch of minions at once like that. Because yeah, without the Aviana, he won't be able to play that a lot of minions, and I would have no trouble in dealing a small amount of minions. Oh well, that's some crazy stuff that could make a funny highlight if it actually happens on the marathon. Well, it's not really funny for me, but it's funny for the audience. And I guess that's one reason why Skelesaurus is interesting. The fight is in a way different every time because you will summon different minions, so you have to be able to quickly adapt to different kinds of situations. And ooh, that is actually not that's a scary start. At least I have a vanish and I have the curator that I could use to draw my oracle. But still, this is a scary start and I don't really have anything good to do, unfortunately. I will probably end up using my vanish earlier than turn 6. I have to use my prep and vanish. Well, if he doesn't do anything, Don't want to use my vanish yet. I will receive 9 damage next turn, which means I'm at 15 health. I think it's still pretty safe, and I could bait a bit more minions by using my vanish on turn 4 instead of turn 3. And on turn 5, I could use Giggling Inventor after I use vanish to clear this board. Ooh, another vanish, nice. Although if I end up having to use my vanish too quickly, that means I will have a lack of vanish on the late game, which could be dangerous, just like what is shown on the last game. I used my vanish too quickly and the opponent out of nowhere got really good stuff. Well, I mean, the situation that was happening on the last game is really unusual. What do I do here? I don't think I want to use my vanish yet, a bit too quick for that. I want to use vanish after, if possible, after turn 8. No, I mean, I want to use my vanish after I played my curator on turn 7, because I want to play curator first so that I could set up in having an oracle in my hand, and I play vanish in turn 8 so I could safely play an oracle on turn 9. Okay, the board isn't huge enough for me to play vanish straight away. I could curator here, also have a taunt, so the opponent can't attack my face if he haven't killed the taunt yet.
The menagerie is for guests only.
Next turn, I will probably use my vanish. Hopefully, I will get a preparation, which allows me to play the curator and play the oracle and vanish at the same time. I will receive a lot of... Okay, this is actually dangerous, really dangerous. 9, 13. Okay, I think I am very likely to be dead here because my health is really low. Yeah, one more tail swipe, which is this 4 damage spell, and I'm dead. Oh well, to be fair, the start of this game is really dangerous already, so I'm not surprised if I end up dying. You know what? Before I play my oracle, I better play my Giggling Inventor. I might end up using my Shadow Step on Giggling Inventor instead of the Oracle itself. Usually I use Shadow Step to return the Oracle into my hand, but now that the situation is really dangerous, I might need to return the Giggling Inventor to my hand so that I could summon a bunch of taunted minions at once. Oh, this is interesting. Wait a minute! This minion Asset Mount, when it exists, any minion that gets damaged will get destroyed, and that actually allows me to destroy a lot of his minions. That is a really unusual situation, I have to say. Things might actually still be good somehow. First of all, let me just use my oracle first. Okay, I better heal. I will actually win this one. Oh wow, that Acid Mouth is really lucky. So, on the last game, I got screwed over by some really unusual RNG, but now I am the one who actually got the advantage, get the benefit from it, because yeah. Oh, I have too many minions for me to summon my oracle. Because yeah, that Acid Mouth minion just now allows me to easily kill so many of his minions. First of all, what do I want to do too? I should be winning pretty easily by this point. He don't have a way to attack my face. My health is already really high, so he won't be able to kill me with any spell. And his card is almost gone, so yeah, I will win soon. Well, that's an... This Kalasaurus has been quite a roller coaster. Is this enough damage to die? Actually, I should have looked at my notes to see if I have lethal yet. 26, okay. Still a really good pace for a resetless run. Oh wait, I split a bit too quickly actually. Because I still have to wait for the secret. Whew. Steel Sentinel have a really interesting trick.
Shame you keep breaking them.
So the way Steel Sentinel works is that he has a passive hero power, and his passive effect is that all of his minions and the hero himself can only take 1 damage at a time. That means that if you attack any of the enemy characters with whatever the attack value is it won't matter, because so whether you attack it with a 2 attack or 10 attack, the enemy characters will only receive 1 damage, which makes it hard to kill the enemy minions manually. So what you do here to defend yourself is that you use a lot of these minions called poisonous minions. Poisonous means that whenever you damage a minion with it, so it will die instantly, no matter how small the damage is. And what do I want to do here? Nothing to do. And so yeah, that gives that will easily clear out his minions. And after the Journey to Un'Goro expansion in last April, the game started releasing a lot of neutral poisonous minions. So now all classes could easily defend themselves against these bosses. Again, that shows the evolution of strategies that is happening after more and more cards are released, which make this Hearthstone speedrunning really exciting. But anyway, right, so I have the tools to defend myself, but what will I do to actually win? Because beating this boss will take a lot of time because he has so many health, right? Attacking him 45 times is boring, it's slow, and this is a speedrun, you want to avoid that. What do I do here first of all? I might have to use my 4 mana spell, which is kind of annoying. I could actually use... I think... I guess I have to use this, unfortunately. Okay, anyway, yeah, attacking him 45 times is too slow, so what you do to win here? That's why I am using Warlock. Warlock have a card here called Treachery. It will give a friendly minion to the opponent, and I could... first of all, what do I want to do?
He's animating the library books. I'll handle the flying hammers and the Lordaeron exhibit.
I need to make sure my hand isn't full so that I don't discard any of my important cards. And well, I have to admit this thing is actually really dangerous right now. He have a huge board and my health is pretty low. Let me just concentrate for a bit. Okay, so yeah, what I'm using a card called Treachery here. Treachery will give a friendly minion to the opponent's side, and I could combine that with this minion called Majordomo Executus. So Majordomo Executus will... this is actually really dangerous. Okay. And Majordomo Executus is a 9 mana minion. When it dies, it will replace your hero with a hero called Ragnaros. Ragnaros is an 8 health hero and with a unique hero power. So what the strategy here is to give Majordomo Executus to your opponent using the Treachery, and at the same time... Hold on, wait, what do I want to do here? This boss is actually pretty hard to play fast, so yeah, my movement might be a bit slow sometimes. So yeah, the strategy here revolves around giving Majordomo Executus to your opponent, and then you kill the Majordomo Executus. And when you do that, first of all, what do I want to do? And when you do that, then you could make the opponent hero got transformed into Ragnaros. So it's only 8 health, it's easy to kill. But the most important thing is the fact that his hero power got changed. So he could take more than 1 damage in a time, and it's easy to kill him once you have a good board control. Although right now the situation is actually really dangerous. Ooh, nice. The Doomsayer is what I just what I need, I think. I actually have other combo pieces here. The Majordomo, the Treachery, and Emperor Taurisan to reduce the cost of my combo cards. Although, to be fair, things are actually still really dangerous right now. I still don't have a good board after this game has been going on for a long time, so this fight will be kind of slow. There's still a small chance I could actually die here, although it's very unlikely, I think. My health is also pretty low. This is dangerous, if that's not obvious. And yeah, well, this deck is actually hard to play because I need to think a few turns ahead on how to set up the win condition, on how to make sure that I could be able to kill the Majordomo and killing the Ragnaros hero at the same time. And especially now things are actually really dangerous. I have a Doomsayer which I could use to destroy all of his minions if the Doomsayer survives. And I don't think the AI have a good way of killing the Doomsayer. That should be good now. Okay, next turn I could start summoning more minions, and I guess I will just use Tauri-san and Emperor Cobra. And maybe the turn after that I could, if things went smooth, the turn after I use Emperor and Cobra, I could just play my Majordomo and Treachery straight away. I could use my Cobra to kill the Majordomo, and that will transform his hero. Although it might be too quick to use that, so let's see what's going on. My health is also kind of low, so I need to think carefully at what I need to do here. Oh, he used Brawl already. That's pretty quick. I don't think I want to use Majordomo straight away. Ooh, that's a huge weapon. If none of my minions die, I will win next turn because I could kill the Majordomo with my poisonous minion. And oh, there's a town minion that I still have to deal with, unfortunately. So can't win straight away. This is annoying. Okay, things are actually... Oh, hold on a minute. Wait. I might actually lose here. I have a lack of option on clearing his minions. My hand really unlucky if I actually lose in this one. But yeah, things are actually... can I win? I don't think I can win at this point. Actually... hold a minute. Actually, yeah, I lost. I don't have enough tools to kill the Ragnaros hero, unfortunately. Well, that's really unlucky. But this game went really unusual. It's... yeah, again, it's... Well, to be fair, the run have been going on a really good pace for a resetless run so far, but now, oh well, everything gone down the drain. Well, not really. Well, actually, I mean, still a decent time for a resetless run, but yeah, what went wrong is that things went really bad throughout the fight, and because of that, I have a lack of removal options again to kill the Majordomo effectively, which what ruins the fight is during the last moment he played a town, which is really hard to deal with. Without the town, I could easily kill the Majordomo and kill the Ragnaros eventually. But the town makes me unable to kill the Majordomo using my poisonous minion. Oh well. What do I want to do here? Next turn, nothing to do, so I guess I'll just play life tap. Oh well, you know what? The way... Okay, so the way this adventure goes is that there are a lot of bosses that have like a small chance of losing, such as this one, although this one is really small, so... And yeah, I mean, throughout this run, I only died 2 times, so I am still really lucky overall. So, although losing that fight just now is kind of annoying because that fight ended up taking a lot of time. And it makes this run that have been on a good pace becomes not as good. But what do I want to do here? But that's fine, bad things happen. And again, this run is still on a decent pace, and nothing to do next turn. That's kinda annoying. Well, I could play my heal bot. I need to remember that I can't have my hands being too full, because I might end up discarding one of my combo pieces. I already have Majordomo Executus, so I don't want to discard the treasury here. There's nothing to do. I might as well just play Doomsayer, just so I could stall the game by one more turn. Also, this card Blinktron, it will give a random weapon to both players, so it could result in some funny moments. And this boss also have a lot of weapons, so which is why you see quite a lot of cards that will remove a weapon instantly, such as these Ooze or the Harrison Jones. And my Doomsayer will actually die. That's kind of annoying. What do I do next turn? Guess I'll just... let me try Doomsayer again, and hopefully this time it will work. Okay, good. If my Doomsayer is successful, then next turn I could just play my Void Lord. Well, it's not successful, but I could easily deal with this. And although I still don't have a poisonous minion on board, I should actually just play my Blast Crystal Potion just now. To play Blast Crystal Potion, and if I do that, I could have played my Emperor Cobra. Well, what do I do here? And I still don't have my treachery. 5 cards left, and not sure how long will this game go further. Well, to be fair, to be honest, this fight is kinda straightforward. When you still don't have your combo pieces, this fight is kinda straightforward, so there's not a lot of stuff I could talk about for now. Although it gets really interesting once I eventually started to be able to set up my lethal. Also, Void Lord here is a card from expansion that was out in last December. It's a really good card for Warlocks in general, and it also helps Warlock decks on adventures. So again, that's another example on how new cards could help your strategies evolve. And I want my treachery, please. Not yet. Oh well.
I don't have enough mana.
Kinda annoying if you use Brawl. Brawl is his spell that will kill all minions on the board except for one, and that one surviving minion is chosen randomly. And there's the treachery. Let me just kill the town now, so next turn I could actually kill the Majordomo with my Basilisk and I could win straight away. Okay. And there you go, I win. Nice, I managed to make the opponent emote rotating around. Wow, 9-minute time loss. So that one loss take a lot of time, and this game itself is kind of slow, while the Steel Sentinel in my PB is actually fast. So yeah, kind of unfortunate, but it happens. So it's still really low chance to die in Steel Sentinel, but again, overall the run have been lucky before heading to Steel Sentinel. So yeah, now in Rough Farm have a really unique twist. At the start of the game, he will actually steal your deck. So he doesn't have a deck on his own, but he will steal your deck, and the game will give us a deck that we could play ourselves. So the deck that we have is a pre-made. And by pre-made I mean that it was already made without any of our control. So yeah, and unfortunately for him, our deck sucks. And by sucks I mean that I put a lot of bad minions. almost all of the minions that I have in my deck are either minions that have 0 attack, or minions that have can't attack literally written on the card text. So yeah, he have a lot of minions that can't attack by themselves, and he will eventually fill his board with a lot of these useless minions, which make this fight goes really smooth. Although that doesn't mean that this fight is trivial, because his hero power here will give him a random minion whose cost will be reduced by 3 mana. So yeah, if he got really strong minions during the start of the game, you might still lose, but the chance of that is really low. So his hero power is in a way kind of similar to Skelesaurus, but it's weaker, because in Skelesaurus the minion that he will get will have its cost reduced to 0, while in this one it will be reduced by 3 mana. So if he got a huge minion, he still have to pay some amount of mana to play that card. But again, most of the time he will end up playing my useless cards. So this boss is pretty trivial, and Warlock is also good against this boss, because Warlock have a lot of cheap spells that you could get through some of the spells. So the way our deck works is that we have some of the Discover effects, and Discover will give a random choice of cards that with a pretty high chance of cards from your own class. So you know what, this is actually kind of annoying that he have a Ysera. Ysera is hard to deal with, and when you use Discover on a Warlock class, you tend to get Warlock spells, and Warlock have a lot of good cheap spells that you could use to control the board. Man, this Ysera is really scary. Things could be really bad if I can't kill the Ysera in a short amount of time. And he also have this really huge stuff.
Buying or selling.
Not sure if I've made the right choices, I don't think so. This Emerald Drake is summoned from his Ysera. It's a strong minion for 4 mana, and it's hard to deal with. Fortunately, all of his other minions here are useless because they have 0 attack or they can't attack. Again, that shows the power of my own bad deck. It makes his deck really ineffective. And now I could kill this dragon, so I should be fine. Now it's just a matter of grinding his face. Hopefully I could kill him pretty quickly. Oh. Ooh, this minion will discover a spell for him that costs 5 or more. So I was hoping he doesn't get a good spell, and fortunately he doesn't. He get a pretty bad spell for 5 mana. So yeah, now all I have to do is just to wait until I could kill him. I don't think I want to bother attacking this minion by this point, because I could easily kill him in a few turns if I just go face. I'm okay. I will hit lethal next turn, and I'm just 1 damage off. This fight is not that quick though. So yeah, the raw farm in my PB is really quick, and this one is kinda slow. Because I don't get a lot of minions with huge attacks, so I can't kill the hero quickly. Now this fight is the climax. It's a really interesting fight. Both mechanics are complicated. The strategies that I'm using is complicated, and the decision making that I have to make tends to be complicated, so my commentary tends to be slowed down a bit in this fight, but yeah. So really, and all those complicated stuff makes this fight really interesting. So the way this boss works is that you see him, he is immune right now, and first of all what I want to do, okay. So yeah, you see he is immune, and what do I want to say just now, right? And starting on turn 4, he will lose his immunity for 1 turn. In every 3 turns. So on turn 4, 7, 10, etc. those are the turns where you could attack him and dealing damage to him. But the strategies that we are using actually ignores this immunity. But we'll get to that point later. But first of all, remember when I said he loses immunity on turn 4? Well, when that happens, at the same time he will also get a huge minion. A huge 10 attack and 10 mana minion straight away, out of nothing. Those minions also have a variant, different kinds of effects, which could be sometimes really dangerous. And yeah, those 10 minions here you will see soon are based on the previous bosses that we have faced throughout this adventure. There are 9 possible bosses that he could spawn, and like such as this one, he makes all the other minions immune. So if we don't kill this thing, then we can't damage all of his other minions. Although fortunately I have the Basilisk, which I could use to kill it straight away. What do I need to do now? Let me just play this thing. So yeah, this deck consists of a lot of defensive tools that is good in dealing damage to those what is it, the 5 attack and the 10 attack and the 10 health minions. Also, you see my hero power here is changed into a different hero power. It's a 2 mana and it says find an artifact, and that means that when I use it I will get this 0 mana spells. It's called artifact, and it have different kinds of wait, let me just think for a bit, because this turn is kind of complicated. Let me just dump this Forbidden Healing because my hand might be full and I don't want to discard my combo pieces. Anyway, yeah, this will give a 0 mana effect that have varying kind of effects. Some of them are really strong, some of them are weak, and we will exploit those 0 mana spells to actually win this game. So our strategy here revolves around a card called Uther of the Ebon Blade. You actually saw that card during my Scarvash. Okay, Scarvash, there is a really dangerous minion to deal with. Fortunately, I have a big game hunter that could destroy it instantly. Next turn, I will probably use Pyro and Equality. And anyway, yeah, this is my main strategy here. It's called a hero card. In a way, it will upgrade your hero and it will change your hero power into a different one. And for the Paladin's hero card, his hero power is this. It will summon a 2 attack and let me just use this. It will summon a 2 attack and 2 mana minion, and if you manage to summon 4 of those horsemen, you will win instantly. You will just destroy your opponent hero no matter what happens. But the thing is, you normally can only use 1 hero power a turn. So how do you set it up to make sure that you could use your hero power 4 times in a single turn? That's why you combine it with a card called Auction Master Beardo, which we haven't seen it for now. But the way Auction Master Beardo works that way. What do we want to do here? Hold on a minute. This is kinda dangerous.
A sacred artifact of my people. Drink it quickly.
Follow the rules.
I need to heal myself or I might die. Okay, this is actually kind of dangerous. I don't have a way to removing a bunch of these minions at once, but anyway. So yeah, the way I am... this is actually insanely dangerous. Might actually die. Yeah, there's a bit of chance to die in this fight, and that happens, then you can't do much about it, unfortunately.
A piece of Lothar's armor remained intact after your scrap.
Like to play with fire?
I am safe for now, but I have a lack of removals now from now on, which means things are still really dangerous. What do I want to do? I might actually have to use my hero card. This is obviously really dangerous. Ooh, nice. Anyway, yeah, Auction Master Beardo, it's a 3 mana minion with the card tracks that after you use a spell, refresh your hero power. So you could combine that card with your cheap spells, and that will allow you to... Ooh, there you go. Actually, I will win in like Hold a minute. Actually, I will win next turn.
The light's justice has failed.
Okay, I will win next turn. Nice. So you play Beardo and then you play your cheap spells so that you could refresh your hero power over and over, which allows you to summon the 4 horsemen at 1 turn, and which is what I will do next turn, and I will win this one. GG. One of the artifacts here allow me to get 4 mana crystals, which allows me to do all this combo without using Taurisan to reduce the cost of my Beardo. Normally, without the artifact that gives me 4 mana, I have to use Taurisan to reduce the cost of Beardo by 1. That allows me to use Beardo for 2 mana, and then I will play 4 hero power, with each hero power costing 2 mana, so that total costing 10. But again, with the 4 extra mana, I don't need the cost reduction on Beardo. And yeah, so there you go. 115 is a still decent time, although it's kinda annoying that I lost so much time on the Steel Sentinel there. It's really unlikely to happen usually. Again, yeah, 115 is about average. There are a lot of different bosses where you could die, so every run is different, every event is different, and yeah, that's a Hearthstone speedrun. Again, you could see the positive response that I got throughout my ESA run, and again, what Hearthstone speedrunning scene needs is an exposure among the Hearthstone viewer base, because there's still a lot of them who don't know that this thing exists, almost all of them, and you could see just after I got a bit of exposure during the ESA, we got a few new runners already, and yeah. Anyway, enough of my ramblings. Thanks for the consideration, and see you at GDQ.